There are many international franchises that are successful all over the world and in Vietnam. And there are others that are just a flop. So this is the case with Burger King in Vietnam. Burger King is the second largest franchise in the world with over 12,500 locations and super successful. But why is that not the case in Vietnam? So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the rise and fall of Burger King, its inability to thrive, and what is happening in the current state of Burger King right now, and my own personal opinion. All right, I know exactly why it failed, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Hello, my name is Ken Duong, international business immigration lawyer with over 15 years of experience helping individuals and companies expand all over the world, opening up companies, franchises, and also investing in various countries like the US, Vietnam, Canada, Grenada, and many other parts of the world. So today I'm actually going to talk about a very special franchise here in Vietnam. But before I get into the topic, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. So let's get into it. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Burger King in Vietnam. So right here is the first location in Pham Ngu, Laos. Back in 2012, a Vietnamese American businessman invested over $40 million in order to bring the master franchise to Vietnam and open its first store. The plan was to open up 60 locations in Vietnam within 5 years. And it was very promising. The first store right here opened up. And at the peak of Burger King's locations, there were only 13 total locations. So let's look back at the first promising store and the history and what went wrong. So if you look at the timeline of Burger King's entry into Vietnam, you'll see that there's something a little bit off. So in 2012, you would consider pretty late to enter into the Vietnam fast food chain and restaurant market. Thus, that impacted greatly on its brand recognition in Vietnam. Moreover, it had very few stores in order for people to see, try, and eat at. So based on a poll, the brand recognition for Burger King in Vietnam is only 37%, as opposed to some of these other chains like KFC, which has 84% recognition, and Lotteria, which is a big Korean fast food chain, which has 62% brand recognition. So if you look at Burger King's presence in Vietnam coming late in 2012, having at the most 13 stores or locations, and currently only 9 locations, it's very difficult for the Vietnamese to come and try the food, recognize its logo or brand similar to right here in a certain area, and then also maybe on a marketing strategy and a branding strategy in the Vietnamese market. We don't know for sure about its support, but in the end, having only 37% brand recognition in the market is very difficult to continue to develop and build the brand. Just to test out our brand recognition theory of 37%, I'm actually going to interview quite a few people to see if they actually recognize Burger King. I'll be asking them in Vietnamese because it's a Vietnamese recognition, and then we will have the English subtitles for you. So follow me. Dạ, xin chào anh. Mà cho mình hỏi, mình chỉ cần anh có biết công ty Burger King không? Burger King họ bán bánh mì rồi kẹp với hamburger đó. Anh có biết cái thương hiệu đó không?
Dạ không.
Không hả? Ok, rồi, cảm ơn anh nha. No, doesn't know. You know Burger King? Can't go, that's too far, man. Em ơi, cho anh hỏi em biết cái thương hiệu Burger King không?
Dạ biết sao anh?
Biết hả? Ok, em có bao giờ ăn ở Burger King không?
Dạ có một lần anh.
Ok, nếu lựa chọn giữa Burger King với McDonald em sẽ lựa chỗ nào?
Em thấy nó xem nha.
Xem nó cũng giống nhau hả?
Dạ.
À, ok. Yeah. Cảm ơn em nha.
Dạ.
Ok. Now that's 50-50. Half no, half don't know. Chú ơi, cho con hỏi là chú có bao giờ dẫn mấy đứa nhỏ đi ăn hamburger không? Hamburger Mỹ á.
Không anh.
Không hả?
Dạ.
Chú có biết McDonald's không? Không luôn. Chú có biết Burger King không?
không có
Không
nhiều
luôn
đi
hả?
anh này.
Ok. Chỉ ăn đồ ăn Việt Nam ta hả?
Dạ, ở Việt Nam.
Ok. Cảm ơn chú.
Dạ.
Em có thường ăn đồ ăn nhanh không? Hamburger đồ không?
Dạ, có anh. Dạ.
Thì em có biết cái thương hiệu Burger King không?
Dạ, hình như là chưa anh.
Chưa hả? Ok.
Dạ.
Em biết McDonald không?
Dạ biết ạ.
Ok. Thì vì em chưa có bao giờ ăn Burger King ha.
Dạ.
Yeah. Ok. Cảm ơn em nhé. Ok. Thì cho anh hỏi là mấy em có bao giờ ăn hamburger của Mỹ không? Mà mấy em biết cái thương hiệu Burger King không?
Em ít khi ăn nó chung.
Em có biết McDonald không? McDonald?
Dạ biết.
Thì biết nhưng mà không biết Burger King.
Dạ, em biết nào ăn của cái hãng đó.
Ok. Còn KFC?
Dạ biết có.
Ok. Mà chưa bao giờ nghe tới Burger King.
Dạ.
Ok.
Dạ.
Rồi, cảm ơn mấy em nha.
Dạ.
So timing is actually very important when you enter into the hyper-competitive franchise fast food chains in Vietnam. And coming in 2012 was quite late because that's only about 11 years ago. So when Burger King came into Vietnam, the goal was to open up 60 locations in 5 years. However, it really fell short because at its peak, it only had 13 locations and currently only 9 locations. And those 9 locations are quite dispersed over Vietnam. So there are 6 in Ho Chi Minh City, 2 in Hanoi, and 1 in Kiên Giang. So being so dispersed, being so few, over 11 years and only having 9 locations, very, very difficult to compete in the Vietnam market. So how do international fast food brands enter Vietnam unlike Burger King did? Many international brands that come into Vietnam have what are called local adjustments in order to tailor and fit with the local market in Vietnam. These international brands will mainly do 2 things. One is they make minor adjustments to the operational period. So in the United States, you will open 24 hours. But here in Vietnam and many Asian countries, you do not do round-the-clock service because people are just not used to it. The second adjustment that many brands make are they offer localized menus, especially rice, because rice is extremely important in the Vietnamese diet, but also in the Asian diet as well. So matching consumer demands is very important and tailoring your set of menus. For example, KFC has very distinctive sauces and also menus that would tailor to the office workers where it's more convenient, faster, and easier to consume during the day. McDonald's, on the other hand, created what's called a Pho Burger, which is a taste that is localized to Vietnam. Everybody loves pho, and now you're having the flavor for the Vietnamese. That boosts sales tremendously for McDonald's. In addition to that, you have Loteria, which is a Korean fast food chain. They have specifically set a set menu for the different times of the day. For example, for breakfast, for lunch, and then for dinner, thus becoming a destination for office workers during the day, but also for folks who need to entertain clients or eat in the evenings before their social activities or their business-related activities. With these very minor but important localization changes to the consumer demand has helped these international brands become very successful in Vietnam. So why did Burger King fail in Vietnam? We came up with a few reasons why, and the first reason is regarding market adaptation. When an international brand comes to Vietnam, you have to look at the local ingredients, sauces, flavors, and what they normally eat. And then you would adjust your menu or use many of those fresh ingredients. However, Burger King decided that they were just going to keep their menu and also serve it exactly Western style food, but in Vietnam. And that didn't work really well because the Vietnamese are so accustomed to the different flavors and the different fresh ingredients, especially a lot of the vegetables, cilantro, mint, and others. And Burger King decided that they weren't going to do that. And even until now, going into the Burger King, they just purely serve it exactly like you would in America or other parts of the world. And that limited them from expanding because it did not adapt to the market. The second reason is regarding high operating costs and the supply chain. So at the time, bringing in Australian beef to Vietnam was very difficult, cost a lot of money on import taxes and also logistics as well. Also, in order to maintain Burger King standard and branding, you needed to be in a high visibility location with specific certain brandings and logos and color schemes, and also size of the location. But being in a prime spot is very expensive on rent, and then of course the cost of construction and maintaining the brand as well. So those increased the operating costs, and thus it was very difficult to maintain. The third reason is Burger King did not have a competitive advantage or a unique selling proposition. Unlike its rivals, it came later, so it didn't have the first mover advantage, but it also didn't really have distinguishing features or a compelling value proposition to have the Vietnamese consumers pick Burger King over McDonald's or KFC or other international brands that already had a foothold in the market, and also they knew what their unique selling proposition was. The fourth reason is the price. So we just got a combo and it was 179,000 V&D for the combo. You can buy 5 cơm tấm or dishes of broken rice for that. So Vietnamese will probably choose that for their family. Moreover, amongst the international brands and franchises, the Burger King is still about 10 to 20% more expensive than the other brands. So if you had a choice on pricing and similar quality and branding, you probably would choose another competitor like McDonald's or Lotteria instead of Burger King. And the fifth reason is it's just not inclusive enough. So when you go eat, you want to have the option of going to eat with your family, your friends, or your co-workers. So unlike McDonald's, which allows you to have a happy meal, also a playground for your kids as well, so you can bring the entire family to come to eat. Burger King doesn't have that. They're really just set menu, and it's not really kid-friendly for you to eat, and there's no places for you to play. So if you had a choice to go to McDonald's or Burger King, most likely you'll choose McDonald's. So if you're thinking about opening up a franchise in Vietnam or being the master franchise, here are some of the tips that we want to give you from our experience of representing many franchises, investing into some in order to help the companies come to Vietnam. The first thing you really need to do is your market research. Just because a brand is super successful and has thousands of locations around the world doesn't necessarily mean that you will be successful in Vietnam, because there's certain uniqueness to the Vietnamese market. So you want to make sure you want to research on your demographics, research on the economic numbers regarding GDP, also the different cities, the geography that it's in, and also about different strategies that have been employed successfully in Vietnam and other possible advancements or other techniques in order to build either in the cities or outside of the cities. You really have to plan and research prior to deciding if you're going to buy the master franchise, and then how you plan to expand and build the Vietnamese market. The second thing you need to do is really to do a SWOT analysis of your competition. Understand what are their strengths, their weaknesses, what opportunities they're taking advantage of, and what threats they are to your business. You want to look at different brands in your industry, how they've done successfully, but also many of their failures in the Vietnamese market as well. So make sure you look at the hyper competition of your various competitors and then mark yourself to see if you can find your differentiation from them in order to be successful here. Third, one of the most important part of building a successful franchise with many locations is understanding your supply chain. So as part of the supply chain is understanding who your suppliers are and your strategic partners in the various needs that you may have. When you control the supply chain from the raw materials, either locally sourced or internationally sourced, where you can have cost savings, is it manufactured in Vietnam, down to every single piece of food and also accessories such as the condiments or the straws. Everything is critically important in the supply chain. And now they have what's called central kitchens or central warehousing or cloud warehousing that allows you to bring everything to one warehouse and distribute every single day. Our specific experience is working with GS25 and their joint venture between GS25 and Gemadep, which is one of the largest or top 3 logistics companies domestically in Vietnam. And how do you supply every single day to all your 100, 200, or 300 locations? Every single minute, every single supply is money. So the better you can control your supply chain, the better you will be able to succeed and grow and achieve economies of scale. You don't want to be in the situation where every store you open, you're losing money. But there's a critical mass number that you need to get to for all the initial investments into supply chain. So make sure you know who your suppliers are, your partners, so that you can control the supply chain and logistics. The fourth thing you need to consider is adaptation to the local culture. You definitely want to research the history, the modern times, and the potential future of the culture. So here in Vietnam, it's a very rich history that has influences from the Chinese, Americans, French, and also its modern Vietnamese culture as well. So you want to make sure you understand those customs, those traditions, and how Vietnam has evolved and continues to industrialize so that you're always ahead of the game in localization. And the fifth thing you need is to make sure you have sufficient investments. Like Burger King, they invested $40 million, doesn't mean you're successful. Nevertheless, the rule of thumb is whatever your budget is to expand to the goals that you want within a specific year, either 1.5 times or double that amount to make sure you have enough reserves. Any contingencies or any international natural disasters or pandemics that may cause issues within your projections and investment plan. So make sure you have enough money to achieve your goals and what you want to do. So we know that opening up another market and entering a country like Vietnam will be very difficult. You have cultural nuances, you have the understanding of the local laws, taxes, hiring, and many of the other concerns as well. So here at Duong Global, we have a team of legal and franchise experts that are help you do the market research, identify the industries, and then also make your foreign direct investment into Vietnam. We have a very good package. Also, we are partners with VF Franchising, which is one of the top franchising firms that helps you identify your international franchise, how to set up in Vietnam, and also how to be successful. Moreover, we've created a video called How to Open a Franchise in Vietnam, so you can click on the top right-hand corner to watch that video and get more information and details. And of course, you can contact us after that. So what are your thoughts about the video today regarding franchising and the failure of Burger King in Vietnam? So we always try to give you the best information on what issues there are, but also to give you solutions and how to do it better and become successful. So as always, my name is Ken Duong, and on behalf of Duong Global, thank you for watching this video. But make sure you like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment below about your experiences with different franchises, and of course, click on the bell for notifications. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.